Welcome to the Plumb5 USSD engagement tutorial. By the end of this tutorial, you should be able to create and manage USSD workflows. You would also be able to create workflows using the Journey Designer.
The USSD dashboard lists out all your workflows. The dashboard also shows the service code and campaign type associated with it. You can click on the status icon to activate or deactivate the workflow. If more than one workflow uses the same service code, clicking on the Activate button on one flow will deactivate all the other. We now move on to the configuration module. Here you can add the service provider that you wish to use. Plumb5 comes with a set of default USSD service providers. Once you have selected the service provider, you will be prompted with a callback link. This callback link needs to be registered with the service provider with your account. Please note, if you have configured more than one service provider, you would be able to use only one at a time. Manage campaign. Here you can add or edit new campaign. All workflows have to be associated to a campaign. Now that you have created a campaign, you are all set to create a new USSD workflow. You can start with a blank workflow, or you could use one of the predefined templates. The predefined templates lets you create a workflow that completes with an SMS, email, or outbound dialing. For this tutorial, I will be creating a workflow with profile-based questions. In order to create a new workflow, first we need to select a campaign. Flow identifier refers to a name given by you for identification. Next you need to enter the service code for this campaign. This would be provided by your service provider. You can also choose a duration for this campaign. Click Proceed. Now we can get started by adding nodes. Add a USSD node. This node represents the first question, or the first option that is presented to the user. On the right is the output simulator. Add the first survey question. Clicking on Save creates a new node. You can now start adding the remaining survey questions. Now that you have your second node saved, we now need to join them by dragging the circle under option 1 and connect it to the second node. Please note, you can click once on the node to remove it from the workflow, and you can double-click on the connector line to remove it. Now, we go on to add the other questions, and connect them. This would be the last question of the survey. Here, we need to click the checkboxes, and mark this option as the success node. This denotes that the workflow has completed with this node. If this is also chosen as the end node, you can choose to complete the campaign with an SMS, or a mail. Click on the drop-down to choose an SMS template. All workflows would be disabled by default. Click on the status icon to activate it. Before you publish the campaign, please make sure to check on the rules by clicking the link. Manage rules lets you specify, first, the number of wrong attempts that is acceptable from the user. Second, the maximum number of times the user can take the survey. And lastly, how many times can a user attempt in a day? Let us now test the campaign that we just created. On our campaign report screen, we can now see the survey details entered by the user. The campaign report screen displays the individual responses entered by the customer. The list also displays whether the user has completed the survey. You also get a quick view of the number of SMS and emails sent to this contact. You can filter the responses by created date, or the updated date. Plumb5 maintains a unified customer stack, and enriches the data for that contact whenever he is engaged, and adds new information. If the user had left the survey incomplete for some reason, and takes the survey after a few days, it will not be treated as a new response. The updated response will get appended to the earlier one. Let's see this in action. I will now take the survey questions. The campaign report screen now shows my responses. Now I shall take the survey one more time. Back to the campaign report screen, we now see that the second response has been appended to the previous. This way we maintain a unified customer profile, irrespective of the number of sessions and engagement. Contact Mapping module lets you map the USSD response field directly to the unified customer profile field. For this demo, I choose to map the name and age directly to the Plumb5's contact profile. Select the field name, the data type and click Save. In case you choose not to use the providers in Plumb5, you can download the campaign details by selecting the campaign and the USSD workflow. You would notice that the USSD campaign is downloaded as a CSV file. This file is not encrypted unlike the other downloads, because there is no user information present in this file. In case of the USSD, the template is always empty. This needs to be filled by the campaign manager, and submitted back to the Plumb5 system, via the encryption tool. Lastly, my download screen keeps a log of all your campaign downloads. This brings us to the end of the tutorial. Thank you. Plumb5, the unified data platform.